it's a little upsetting, and it would have been great for my kids to grow up on the farm, but it wasn't meant to be.
What exactly is the real truth behind Matt and Zach Roloff's feud? Over time, we've seen the father-son relationship break down before our very eyes, and it's sad to say that it only seems to be getting worse. Although we all thought that both of them would be well over their differences with time, that doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. You guys will never believe what's really going on with Matt and Zach Roloff. So growing up, Zach and Matt always had their differences, and they never saw eye to eye all the time, but they never had any issues as serious as this. But with everything that's happened, could Matt and Zach's recent feud really be what breaks the Roloff family up for good? In earlier seasons of Little People Big World, Matt and Amy always expressed their desire to actually pass down Roloff Farms to their 4 kids, Zach, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob. But with the issues that have occurred between the family concerning the sale of the farm recently, that may not end up happening. We all know that Zach has always had an interest in owning part of Roloff Farms, but the truth is, what we want isn't always what we get. At the time when Zach first made his intention known to Matt, according to Matt, Zach didn't come to him with the intention to negotiate to buy part of the farm. He came to demand he get part of the farm, and apparently both Matt and Zach had completely different thoughts on how their negotiation would go, and that was where their feud really began. And Zach obviously wasn't happy with how Matt was handling the negotiations, and he made it clear to Matt that he's done letting him dictate what goes on. And now I have to say, I find this really weird. I mean, Matt's the owner of Roloff Farms. Isn't he supposed to be the only person who dictates how the sale would go? But anyway, both guys couldn't reach an agreement, and it led to their current feud. And now the thing everybody thinks is that Matt was the main reason why the negotiations fell through, and Matt is allegedly the only reason why he and Zach's relationship is going downhill. But what no one knows is that it seems like Karen also had a part to play in the feud between Zach and Matt. The negotiations for Zach to buy the north side of Roloff Farms obviously were supposed to be between just, Zach and Matt, but Karen decided that she needed to give her opinion. In her words, it was just a business transaction that didn't work out, but Zach believes that she actually had a bigger part to play in his father refusing to sell the farm than she actually let on. Maybe she had a part to play concerning the price Matt decided to give Zach for the north side of the farm, but no one but her and Matt really knows if that's the case. The fact that Matt and Zach couldn't reach an agreement at all caused a huge rift between them, and Zach's decision to move to Washington made it even more impossible for them to reconcile. But what made everything even worse was when Matt decided to go public with his own side of the story. And according to Matt's post, both Jeremy and Zach didn't want to work together on the farm, and even though he gave them a substantial family discount and a quote-unquote gift of equity, both Zach and Jeremy decided that individually the timing just wasn't right for them. And Matt's Instagram post definitely didn't sit well with Zach, and he outright called his father a liar because of the post. And apparently Matt was just trying to change the whole narrative of the story before season 23 of Little People Big World aired, and Zach didn't hold anything back when calling Matt a coward. He claimed that for most of Matt's life, he never really took responsibility for his actions and always tried to manipulate his fan base just so he can come out in good light. And after Zach and Matt's online tiff, they both decided to not talk to each other anymore, and this affected everyone in the family. But it seems to have affected Amy a lot more than it affected the others. For Amy, watching Matt and Zach constantly fight with each other was just so hard for her to watch, and even she didn't know the full details of what really went down during their negotiations, so she couldn't really do much to help, diffuse the entire situation. And now, even though Amy didn't know much about what it really went down during Matt and Zach's negotiation, it seems like she's blaming Matt. She made this really interesting statement about how it doesn't really surprise her that Matt and Zach are fighting with each other because of her interactions with Matt over the years. So does this mean that Matt is really the problem behind his and Zach's longtime feud? I honestly think that Amy was indirectly trying to tell us that, maybe the negotiation between Matt and Zach went south because Matt refused to step down for Zach, and she even said some stuff along the lines of how, as a parent, you have to take the higher road no matter how old your kids are. And now, even though Matt and Zach's relationship was downhill fast, Zach called their ordeal a toxic situation. Both of them still managed to get along for Jackson's 5th birthday party, though, and in an interview, Zach even revealed that they had moved on from everything, and he even wished that everything would have played out a little differently than it did. But even though Zach claimed that he and Matt had finally moved on, the tension was still there, and the tension was really obvious when Zach and Tori decided to pay a visit to the farm during pumpkin season. And according to Tori on the show, she was, in her quotes, extremely uncomfortable being at the farm, and it didn't seem to bother Matt at all, though. And what he said was definitely not what anyone would have expected him to say. He made made it seem like he didn't even care about the fact that he and Zach could barely get along, with each other, and he told Zach and Tori that if they don't want to be there, then they shouldn't bother going to the farm. And I guess that's how bad things had gotten between the both of them, and it really seems like there's nothing anyone can do to change it. And in one of the latest episodes of Little People Big World, Matt revealed in his confessional that he was actually disappointed with the fact that he and Zach couldn't really reach an agreement, and this ended up ruining their relationship. And according to him, it feels like selling the farm to Zach wasn't meant to be, and he still has mixed feelings about everything that happened. And even when Karen asked him if he was really sure he wanted to sell the farm, he claimed that he was only doing it because it would be awkward for Karen since he has too many memories there. But if you ask me, his reason doesn't really make much sense. I mean, if it would be awkward for him to be there, then why not just hand it over to one of his and Amy's kids? I mean, is he really going to end up giving up the family legacy just because he has too many memories there, or is there some other reason that he just doesn't want to reveal? I don't know, guys. It's pretty weird. So let me know in the comments below what you guys are thinking. And like always, if you enjoyed this video, please do me a huge favor, that like, follow, share, subscribe button. And y'all better stay tuned for many more videos.